From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Back in December, a wildfire nearly wiped out the small area of Montana called Gibson Flats. Coming up, a resident walks us through the destruction of that town, tries to recover.
I'm Mike Dennison at the Capitol. It's the first day of candidate filing in Montana for 2022, and we had no shortage of takers.
6:30 on this Friday. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. Interesting weekend upcoming for all of us. Sadness for your part. I feel bad for you on that because I know you've been a Chiefs fan for a long time.
I have, yeah.
Playing my Steelers. And
you know, we don't really talk about it very often, but you know, you and I have been friends a long time, and we kind of razz each other. So, of course, I have my Chiefs tie. You have your Chiefs hat. We both brought our jerseys. Of course, our team's facing off in the playoffs, so it'll be a lot of fun. We'll give some razzing as we're going through the next few days.
We definitely will.
Yeah.
Hey, a little wager on the line as well.
Maybe we can. Yeah, I can think of a few things here. Temperatures into the teens in Butte, 20s out toward Belgrade. Very pleasant for the morning overall, but we have had a light dusting of snow. We've been dealing with that at pass level primarily and down the Gallatin Canyon. Traffic's moving along fine. We're not seeing any big issues with that. Watch the Gallatin Canyon though. There could be a few slick spots on the corners. That's pretty typical this time of year. Skies are going to clear. We're looking at plenty of sunshine for the afternoon and evening. Daytime highs back into the 30s as we get later into the day. You can see traffic moving along fine in Butte, but again, there may be a few icy spots. We'll talk more about your complete forecast, including a look at the road report, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:31 now. It's been more than a month since the Gibson Flats fire south of Great Falls tore through a community, destroying homes and damaging property. Now, a victim of that fire is taking us on a tour, showing us firsthand the devastation. MTN's Brianna Juneau has the story.
It's hard to plan for the worst.
I just walked back to our house.
When you don't expect it.
There's Ernie's right here. There's our house.
The Mackenstadt family couldn't believe what had happened.
I've never seen anything like so devastating.
The Gibson Flats fire burned over 120 acres and took houses down with it.
Yeah, there's nothing left.
Including the Mackenstadt's family home.
I didn't have nothing left.
I didn't get to see it until like the next day. They wouldn't let anyone in.
After getting a phone call that morning from her husband, Beth Mackenstadt jumped into action.
The only thing I could think of to do was just start pounding on the neighbors' doors. And
she woke me up and I just, first reaction was just cry.
Now they've picked themselves up and are putting the fire behind them.
Hopefully, you know, we can continue to support each other out here and be there for each other and get back on our feet.
The family is overwhelmed with how much support there has been.
We've had a great outpouring of community support.
As they plan to rebuild their home, they hope support continues to flood in.
We've had a really great support from the community, but I hope people don't forget that it's a long process and it's ongoing and we're still going to need help in the next few months. So
in Gibson Flats, I'm Brianna Juneau, MTN News.
Oh, it's just so hard to fathom that. 6:33 now. If you're participating in Dry January, congratulations. You're almost halfway done. Dry January is where someone abstains from alcohol for the month. So to do it, you have to reboot all those boozy holiday parties, or maybe as part of a New Year's resolution towards health. Or maybe in the back of your mind, there's a whisper or feeling that maybe you've been drinking too much these days. You wouldn't be alone. National survey of the U.S. adults on their drinking habits found excessive drinking, such as binge drinking, increased by 21% during the COVID pandemic. Scientists estimate that 1 year increase in alcohol consumption during the pandemic will result in 8,000 additional deaths from alcohol-related liver disease, more than 18,000 cases of liver failure by the year 2040. TN's Jill Valley shares a Facebook post from a Montana man whose testimony after 3 years of sobriety describes an incredible change in his life.
I put something like that on there just hoping that maybe I could inspire somebody else to take the leap.
When Gary Scheil decided to take a year off from drinking, he didn't do it quietly.
It was a New Year's resolution. It was about October, and I just decided that it was time to stop. And I made it public on Facebook, like the post, and I just figured if I had that accountability and all my friends knew that for 1 year I wasn't going to drink. I did it for 1 year, so I had at least this feeling that maybe there was some sort of an out. But I knew in my heart that once I stopped and saw how much better life was, that it would, that would drive me to continue to do it.
1 year, he could do that. He'd come to realize alcohol had become too important in his life. He was very functional, but always tired, a little foggy, and gaining weight.
I don't know if you can define what it was, but I was drinking way too much. I started drinking with friends, and over the years, I would get to the point where I was out every night drinking, and had gained a bunch of weight and was gotten up to 340 pounds.
So with a will of steel, the love and support of family, and good friends, he stopped. It's been over 3 years, and he's never looked back.
I was amazed at how once I stopped drinking, how much better I felt and how much I didn't miss it. How much I could still talk to people and go to parties and have fun. And I just take non-alcoholic beer sometimes, or Diet Pepsi or something else to drink, and I haven't noticed much of a change. It's been just really good.
He's rediscovered his energy and put that into things he's always wanted to do, including his Casting Shadows Foundation he started with a friend. It connects sons and fathers on the river. He's lost 70 pounds, made new friends, and joined Toastmasters. All the good things alcohol can't offer.
If I had some advice for somebody quitting, in advance, think about the things you've always wanted to do. And get ready to do that stuff, because you're going to have the extra energy. It's just been awesome. It hasn't been, once I saw how great it was, I never thought twice about going back.
In Lolo, Jill Valley, MTN News.
All right, 6:36. Yesterday was the first day candidates could file to run in Montana's 2022 elections, with things kicking off at 8 o'clock in the morning at the Secretary of State's office. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison was there at the Capitol, tells us no shortage of candidates willing to jump into the political fray.
When Secretary of State Christy Jacobson opened the doors at the crack of 8 a.m., first in line to file was State Senator Mike Cuff, a Republican from Eureka in northwest Montana, who's running for re-election this year. But the big race this year in Montana is Congressional District 1 in western Montana, one of 2 newly minted congressional districts in the state. 2 candidates for that seat showed up to file in person on Thursday. Democrat Cora Newman of Bozeman says she's been traveling the district already and talking to voters, and that one issue she'd like to address is affordable housing.
That is probably the top line issue that I hear about from people of all backgrounds, party aside, is struggles with housing prices, and there's a lot we can do about that.
An hour later, Republican Al Olszewski filed. The former state senator from Kalispell is challenging fellow Republican Ryan Zinke in the GOP primary, and says he thinks voters are questioning Zinke's conservative credentials.
Right now in the Republican Party, I beg to differ that he's the favored candidate. He's the favored establishment candidate. I want to vote for limited government and for good Montana conservative policies.
However, Zinke has been endorsed by former President Donald Trump, who appointed Zinke as his first U.S. Interior Secretary. While a trickle of candidates showed up Thursday at the Secretary of State's office to file, most filing is done electronically. By Thursday afternoon, more than 60 legislative candidates had filed to run, and several district judge candidates filed Thursday, including Michelle Levine of Great Falls, who was appointed as district judge by Governor Steve Bullock in 2020, but who lost her job when the Republican-controlled Senate refused to confirm her last year. Levine is challenging Judge David Grubich, who was appointed last year by Republican Governor Greg Gianforte to take the seat she had to vacate. 2022 is what most of us are calling a down election year in Montana, with maybe only one high-profile race in the state. But don't tell that to the candidates who filed Thursday, who are already mixing it up on the campaign trail. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Oh, and we begin again. 6:39 now. Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority is hoping a bit of hometown celebrity will help efforts to bring passenger rail service back to Montana's southern route. Musician David Simmons had already penned a new tune, All Aboard Montana, helped kick off the first passenger rail summit in 2020, where counties and other jurisdictions launched the effort to restore Amtrak service across southern Montana. The goal is to restore the line, which ceased operation back in the late 1970s. Wednesday's meeting of the Rail Authority, the board unveiled a revised version of the video with David's star brother J.K. Simmons joining on the chorus.
This is David Simmons
and J.K. Simmons,
and we are excited to ride that line again.
We are indeed looking forward to the restoration of the North Coast Hiawatha line through southern Montana.
Board, all aboard Montana, let's ride that line again. Watch our treasure beauty roll by like an old friend.
Now, the Rail Authority plans to use the video in future presentations. Other efforts to advance the push to restore rail service on the route that includes Billings west to Missoula and Idaho. All right, time for a quick break here on Montana This Morning. When we come back at 6:40.